I remember wanting to be an actor from around the age of like 5. And because my family was really performative, we used to perform at family gatherings and stuff. But what actually did it for me was watching The Color Purple when I saw Whoopi Goldberg and she looked like me. And I was like, oh, I could do this. I could do this for a living. And that's when I feel it really became a bug. My very first experience on a film set was on The Constant Gardener, and I had just come home from school at Hampshire College, and they were filming in my neighborhood, and I was like, I have to find my way onto that set. And so luckily a friend of mine was one of the actors in the movie, and he introduced me to the production team, and they put me on probation for a week. I was a production assistant, and then I was promoted to first team PA, so my responsibilities were looking after Ray Fiennes and Rachel Weisz and things like that. And it was incredible, you know, to see how this big machine worked, and it just felt right, like that's what I wanted to do. For my undergrad, I studied film studies and African studies as well. I went to this very liberal arts school where you could design your own major. So those are the interests that I took on. And I wanted to make a documentary because I had never tried to do a thing like that at school. And the subject that I chose at the end of the day was albinism in Kenya, because I knew a person with albinism and I didn't know anything about her experience. And I found myself feeling shame for not understanding someone that I considered to be my friend. And albinism in particular was an interesting subject because they're the one group of people that unify all races. And having come to the United States, was the first time that I really had to consider myself as being Black, and to learn what my race meant, because race is such an important part of understanding American society. You know, one of the reasons why I enjoy acting is because it gives me a chance to experience circumstances and lives that I would otherwise not have the opportunity to experience. I enjoy being able to take on different socio-economic and cultural backgrounds. And so when I was given this opportunity to play this woman, a slave, from a time that really is not part of my everyday life.
I went to Master Shaw's plantation.
You admit it?
Yes, freely. And you know why? I got this from Mrs. Shaw. Mrs. Stubbs won't even grab me no soap to clean with. I stink so much I make myself gag. 500 pounds of cotton, day in, day out, more than any man here. And for that I will be clean. That's all I ask. This here, what I went to Shaw's for.
I mean, it was such a gift as an actor to be able to lend myself to that kind of story. Our discussions were always just geared towards character and creating a real human being on screen. I, of course, did what I needed to do in order to bring that person into the room, and it was really about like trying to find not only the inner workings of the character, but also the external circumstances and the physicality that would have lent itself to that inner character. And that's what we really focused on building. So we never had any sort of like bigger picture discussion. And I'm really looking forward to that discussion happening on the public platform.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be. Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
Wakanda offers us a glimpse into the world as it could be, self-determined and developed on their own terms without the interruption of colonialism, has figured out how to make the most of all its citizens. And so women are allowed to realize their full potential. And that's what Ryan wanted to show. And he committed to having that number of women around him, and that we're all very specific, very individual, very powerful in our own ways, and therefore very effective and influential.
Show them who we are.
This is a nation at a very, very pivotal moment in its development. You know, they have some crucial questions to answer. And so Ryan really wanted this story to be led by those questions. You know, who am I and who are my people? And the women contribute to the answering of that question, which is the way the world is. That's the power of books, is that when you can see yourself reflected in a character, you feel less alone, you feel less weird, and just more accepted. How has acting affected your confidence? Ooh. I think it's made me face my fears, you know, on a daily basis. Every time I go to act in front of people, there's only so much I can control about the moment. That's when you can really discover the most about yourself and actually achieve things beyond your wildest dreams. Emily, 16, what are your top tips for ensuring you stand out from the crowd? Dr. Seuss says it best. There is no one who is youer than you. That's what he says. And it's true. I think when you're the best version of yourself, standing out takes care of itself.